Hey, Mama, and welcome back to For Moms, a Safe Space. I'm your host, Simone, and if you're here, I already know you're doing the most. You're trying, you're loving hard, you're figuring things out day by day. And if today's one of those days where you just need to feel seen, I got you. Last week, we had a powerful conversation about the invisible load we carry as moms, the mental tabs we keep open 24/7, the emotional juggling act, the way we're always anticipating everyone's needs before our own. And if you're still carrying that weight today, just know I see you and I'm right there with you. But today, we're going to shift gears a little, but it all still connects. Because when we talk about how we show up for our kids, we can't ignore how much of our energy, our mindset, and even our past experiences shape our parenting choices. So let's talk about something that I think every parent has wrestled with at some point. Traditional parenting versus gentle parenting. While the two approaches seem so opposite, so black and white, there's a whole gray area in between. And that's where I live, somewhere in that messy middle ground. So, let's breathe together, sip some tea if you got it, and have a real conversation, just mom to mom, about discipline, connection, expectations, and the ways we're all just doing our best. I want to start with something that might stir up a little something in you. Think back to how you were raised. Was it strict? Were there rules for everything? Did you get spanked? Did your parents say things like, "because I said so"? Or were they more hands-off? Maybe even emotionally distant? Now think about how that shaped you. Not just your behaviors, but your emotions. Were you afraid to speak up? Did you learn to hide the parts of yourself? Or did you feel safe, seen, structured? You see, a lot of us grew up in what's now considered traditional parenting. Discipline, obedience, no backtalk, and often not a lot of space for feelings. But maybe for some of us, that created a strong sense of responsibility. But it might have also created anxiety, fear, perfectionism, the belief that love had to be earned through being a good mom. That's the part that gets heavy. Because when we become parents, we carry all of that, the lessons, the trauma, the fears, and suddenly we're faced with a choice. Do I repeat what was done to me, or do I try something new? And trying something new, that's where gentle parenting comes in. Now, I grew up in a two-parent household. My parents were married until my dad's passing. And while they weren't perfect, they showed up and did what they could with what they knew. And I think once you become a parent yourself, you start to understand that because there's no manual or script on how to parent. It is a learn-as-you-go process. So you start to realize your parents, they were just doing the best that they could, often using the tools that they inherited. And that is the way that their parents parented and their parents before them parented. And the older generation didn't realize that they could question the parenting style. But at some point, that generational parenting style, it does need to be broken. Now, my mom is amazing. My mom, I love her dearly. And, she's been there for me in ways that I can't even explain. But her and I have had these honest conversations about her parenting style and how it was when I was growing up. And the truth is, it was rooted in fear. It was that because I said so kind of parenting. There wasn't much space to ask questions. There wasn't much room to express how I felt without being told, "fix my face," or being met with backlash. And it was like if I showed too much emotion or disgrace, I was being disrespectful. And honestly, that hurt. So how does that show up now as an adult? Well, I don't know how to properly express myself without getting overly emotional or crying because I am so upset because I don't know how to express myself. And that's hard to deal with as an adult. It's hard not to be able to say, hey, I'm feeling like this, and this is why I'm feeling like it. What can we do to fix it? Because as a child, trying to express how I felt was like, oh, no, nope, you're being disrespectful. Now, I'm not discrediting how I was raised, because my mom and dad, they did a pretty decent job overall with me and my brother. You know, we're not too messed up, and both of us have come a long way. And I'm definitely proud of who I am. But now that I'm raising my own sons, I think a lot about the kind of environment I want to create for them, especially emotionally. Because I want my boys to feel like they can talk to me. I want to notice when something is off, especially with my older son, as he is entering some of the most crucial years in a child's life. So I check in with him. I ask about his day, his mood, his thoughts. And it's not in a way that talks at him, but in a way that invites him in. I try to listen and really be present, but not just dismiss or invalidate his feelings, because kids have emotions too. They have real experiences. Yes, they might be small people, but their worlds are big. And I think sometimes we forget that. You know, we say, oh, all you have to do is go to school. School is very hard for children because you're in an environment with a lot of different kids who come from different backgrounds. You don't know what another child is going through. You don't know the dynamics of that child's household. And sometimes when kids aren't receiving the things that they need at home, they act out in school because that may be the only way that they get attention. So your child is going to school and having to be around all these different people and different personalities. And it's just like us when we go into work. We're around all these different people and all these different personalities, and it can be hard. It can be overwhelming. So you don't want to dismiss and invalidate your child's feelings and emotions because they are going through some big experiences as well. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't always feel emotionally supported. I felt like I was seen the most when I misbehaved. And it's like that's when the attention showed up. And yes, I was disciplined a lot because I got into a lot, especially in school. High school, the principal and the disciplinary admin, they knew me very well. And not in a good way. Not in a good way. I stayed in the principal's office all 4 years of high school. I was in the principal's office. I was in the disciplinary office. And I'm sure we have all heard this quote at some point in time in our lives. Hard heads make soft behinds. Yes, I was spanked. And I'll be honest, I do believe there's a time and place for a pop here and there. But I don't want that to be my go-to response in my home. And not because I think I'm better than how I was raised, but because I want to evolve from it. I want to parent with more intention. And that's why I believe in balance, a mix of gentle and traditional. Because kids do need freedom to express themselves. They need emotional safety and presence. But they also need structure, boundaries, discipline. I am not my child's friend. I am their parent. And that means loving them enough to hold space and hold the line. Now, I want to touch on this really quickly. I see a lot of moms who are around my age or a little bit older who are parenting teenage daughters. And in some dynamics, the mom acts like the daughter is their best friend. right? So they treat them as their best friend. In my opinion, the girls are a little advanced for their age, with the things that their moms are allowing them to wear. They have the fake nails on, they have lashes, they have weave. And it's like, why are you trying to grow your child up so fast? In my opinion. And I question, okay, if you're treating your child as if they are your best friend, your best girlfriend, where do you draw the line when it's time to discipline? When your child does something that you don't approve of, how do you discipline them if they have been raised in a manner that shows you guys are best friends? How do you do that? How do you navigate that? There has to be a boundary. There has to be one. Now, you as mom may have that boundary, but you haven't fully established it with your child. So now when you come at them about something, you discipline them about something, the respect is not going to be there because you didn't make that boundary well known. Now, I do question that. How do you navigate something like that? I make sure that my child knows, yes, you can come to me. You can talk to me. I will listen to you. I will guide you as best as I can. However, there is a line. Do not cross it. So you may be trying to break a cycle, right? The cycle of the generational parenting. And while you're still trying to honor where you came from, it's hard, it's messy, but it's necessary to try and break that vicious cycle. So let's talk about gentle parenting. Because on paper, it does sound amazing. It's about connection and understanding, emotional regulation, being calm in the storm. Gentle parenting says discipline is about teaching, not punishing. You can set boundaries without yelling or using fear. And honestly, when you think about gentle parenting, prior to being a parent, especially knowing how you were raised, you will be drawn to it. You're going to think to yourself, that's who I want to be. That's the mom I wish I had. But then you have your kids and reality hits, right? Because gentle parenting doesn't prepare you for being touched out, being sleep deprived, being triggered. Trying to calmly narrate your toddler's tantrum while they scream and throw a toy at your head. It's okay. It's all right. Calm down. I understand you're upset, but we don't throw toys at mommy. No. Gentle parenting out the window. It's out the window because we're not screaming and throwing toys here. Absolutely not. Now, the other day, my oldest son had what's called a crash out moment. That's what the kids call it, crashing out. He threw his gaming controller at the TV and he broke it. Now, when he first came to me about it, I thought it was the YouTube prank when kids show the TV screen is broken to their parents, but it's really a YouTube video. But then I saw the fear in his eyes, and his body language told me everything that I needed to know. He did really break the TV. And in that moment, with everything that I was already carrying emotionally, I knew if I hit him, he was going to be hurt. And it wasn't going to be solely because he broke the TV. It was going to be because I was unleashing all the other anger, stress, and overwhelm I'd been holding in. So instead, I walked away. I put my energy into my nighttime routine with my youngest son, and I didn't say a word to my oldest son. But see, he's very intelligent. So he already knew, without me having to say anything to him, to bring me all his electronics. Like he was giving himself a punishment. right? And so what upset me the most regarding the TV is that it was a gift from my parents. My parents bought me this TV when I was in high school. So this thing is like 17, 18 years old. And it worked perfectly fine. But for me, it held a sentimental value because it was a gift from my parents. Now, fast forward 2 days later, my youngest decides to climb up on something in his room and get the Vaseline off his dresser. Now, on this particular day, so many things had happened before 12 p.m. Okay? So many things. I had issues with their dental office where they had to reschedule their appointments. I attempted to reschedule. They didn't have my one son down for an appointment, and then they put both of them on for an appointment. And then I showed up at the office, and the woman at the front desk said that they were not on her schedule. That was at 8:20 in the morning. Okay, 8:20 a.m. I was already on the edge. Then I get home. I have things to do in the house. I have work to do. And my mom calls me. I talk to her about the dentist office issues. And then I say to her, okay, well, I'm going to check on the little one because he's a little quiet. Now, moms of toddlers, we know that quiet is going to mean one of two things. One, they're quiet because they're asleep. Amen. Best time. That's what we're hoping for. Or they're quiet because they have gotten into something. And that's the one that we all dread, right? We all dread that quiet because they're into something. So when I open his door, the first thing that I notice is the smell of poop. The second thing is he's covered in something. And my heart drops because I was like, please, God, don't tell me this boy is covered in poop. And then when I saw what was in his hand, an empty Vaseline jar, empty. Mind you, this Vaseline jar had about 1/4 left in it, okay? And we know Vaseline lasts a very long time. A very long time. And it was 1/4 left in there, okay? He was covered from head to toe. Vaseline all on his face and his hair, on his shirt, on his pants, on his shoes. On the bed, there were handprints from Vaseline. It was on the wall. I was burnt out. I was burnt out. So I told my oldest son, please clean your brother up. I'm leaving. And I left the house. I walked around my neighborhood and I was just trying to breathe, trying to catch my breath, trying to figure out, why is this going on? Why does this keep happening? Am I doing something wrong? Like, why does it feel like everything is sending me over the edge? And I contemplated running away. I did. The only reason why I came back is because I just got my hair done on Saturday and I started to feel like my press was starting to sweat out. So I say, I got to go back in the house because I got to wrap my hair because I just got my hair done. But again, I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't hit. I just removed myself from the situation, removed myself from my kids. So can you consider this gentle parenting? Yeah, you can. Because gentle parenting isn't just about being calm with your kids. It's about learning to be calm with yourself, even when everything in your body is ready to explode. And in that moment, I wanted to explode. My oldest broke his TV. My youngest is now covered in Vaseline. Like, what is happening right now? And that's the thing about gentle parenting. It takes so much from us emotionally. You have to regulate yourself before you can help them regulate. You have to pause your instinct because you're ready to react. Right? You have to pause and think before you react in a bad way. You have to breathe when all you want to do is yell. Take that deep breath. Oh, God. And some days I just don't have it. I don't. So I'm that parent who's in the middle. I'm not fully traditional. I'm not fully gentle, but I'm intentional. And I've learned that you don't have to choose one over the other. You can build your own blueprint. I can validate your emotions, but I don't let those emotions justify bad behavior. I can give you choices, but I can also give you clear consequences. I let them cry, but I don't let them disrespect. If my kid talks back to me or talks to me in a manner in which I don't like, I don't yell right away, but I do say in a stern voice, watch how you talk to me. Watch your mouth. Try me again? Yeah, now there's consequences. Now there's consequences, because for every action, there is a reaction. So guess what? Sometimes I do raise my voice, especially at my little one. And I raise my voice at my little one because he is small. He's 2. He'll be 2.5 next month. And I do raise my voice at him because I need him to understand that, yes, you are 2 years old. Yes, you are learning your environment. You are learning about yourself. You are exploring. However, you are not the boss of me. Absolutely not. You will listen to me. You will listen to mommy. Okay? He is still at an impressionable age, and his age, as well as my older son's age, are very crucial ages into molding your children. But what I've come to understand is just because I yell at them doesn't mean that I'm a bad mom. I have gone back to my oldest son and apologized to him after I lost it on him, because it wasn't what he did in that moment, but it was everything else that I was carrying with me. And then his moment caused me to go over the edge. So I have gone back to him and said, I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. I'm sorry. But what you did is still not okay. Still not okay what you did, but I'm sorry for reacting the way that I did. And that's not anything that I received when I was younger. And that's one small change that I said I was going to make. Because it is inevitable that you will lose it on your children. If you're going through a lot of things in your personal life, you have a lot of things going on, and your child does that one thing that really just sets you off. But you know that small thing that your child did isn't why you're so upset. So I have gone back to my son and apologized to him if I've lost it on him and I didn't necessarily mean to. It's that moment of repair. It matters more than any perfect script or technique. There's no one right way to parent. That was a little tongue twister for me. That's why I had to slow it down a little bit. There's no method, no book, no expert or influencer who knows your child like you do. Your values matter. Your culture matters. Your capacity matters. And you are not failing because you yelled today. No. You're not soft because you decided to give a hug instead of punishment. You're not weak because you need breaks. Emphasis on breaks. I need a break. I have been talking about needing a break for quite some time now. Have I gotten it yet? No. No, I haven't. Am I going to force myself into a break? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And you are not wrong for not fitting neatly into a parenting style. Because guess what? You are parenting the way you know how, while healing from the way you were parented. And that's powerful. That's powerful. And it's something you should be proud of. So understand that you don't have to fit into whatever parenting column there is out there. You know how they have the BMI mass index in the doctor's office, and they take your weight, and then they show you the chart, and they say, well, this is where you should be, but this is where you are. When you know, like, realistically, who's really going to be in their category? Who's really going to be in that category? It's not realistic. Like, come on. Yeah, it's a nice little guide, nice little piece of paper with some colors on it, but no, because we're all different. We're all navigating differently. Everyone's household dynamics are different. Every child is different. So parenting is going to be adapted according to the child. You're going to learn as you go, as your child grows. So wherever you are in your parenting journey, whether you're holding firm boundaries today or just trying not to cry in the laundry room, I see you. And you're not doing anything wrong. You are doing enough. You're doing enough. If this episode made you feel a little less alone, please share it with a friend. Please leave me a review, like, share, subscribe. DM me if you want to talk to me about your story. DM me if you have a topic you want to discuss. You can find me on Instagram at 4Moms A Safe Space Podcast. Or you can email me at 4momsasafespace@gmail.com. Leave me a little note, something I can feature in an upcoming episode. Until next time, breathe deep. Give yourself grace. And know this, you don't have to pick a side. You just have to keep showing up. And mama, you're doing a damn good job. Talk to you soon.